Haikyuu is my favourite sports anime due to its exploration of the themes of teamwork, self-improvement and perseverance, something that it does exceptionally well. And along with being one of the best animes I've ever seen, it also has one of the best first episodes of any anime I've ever seen, which, as you may have guessed, is the topic of this video. If at any point during the video you find yourself entertained, then consider liking, subscribing or ringing the bell, as you don't know how much such a small action can do for this channel. Anyway, on with the video. For me, there are three main things a first episode needs to do to be great. The first is to introduce the viewer to the series and set up the basic concept, which nearly every first episode does, at least in some regard. Second is a big moment, by which I mean one thing that makes the viewer go, oh my god. Some good examples of this is the Tyson attack in the first episode of Attack on Titan, or the battle at the end of the first episode of Decadence, where a giant mobile city turns into a fist and punches a whale looking kaiju the size of a mountain in the face. And third is to introduce the core themes of the series, such as how in the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugi has to believe in faith and his friends to beat Kaiba, or how in the first episode of FMA Original the idea of science versus religion and how both can be bad at their extremes is explored. And does Haikyuu's first episode meet all these criteria? Well, that is the point of this video. So let us begin with point number 1. The first episode introduces our two protagonists, shows a game of volleyball, with some minor context how the game is played, and shows Hinata's motivation and inspiration to play volleyball. It also introduces the rivalry between Hinata and Kageyama and introduces us to an idea of tournaments, a mainstay in the series. And in the last scene shows Karasuno High School, the main setting for the series. So yeah, on paper this episode does a brilliant job of showing the viewer what the whole series is about and sets a pretty spot on image of what the series is like as a whole. Point 2 is there a spectacle, and well yes, technically there is two, as I'd say Kageyama and Hinata's talk outside the tournament and their vows to be the best is a great moment, but I think everyone remembers the other standout OMG moment of the episode. That blimmin' spike. I mean, it is just cool. The art style changes, making the scene stand out from the get-go, and for the first time in the game we see the fear of Kageyama and his team's faces. It's unexpected, cool as all hell, and introduces Hinata's incredible jump. And how does the spike end? Well, in and out. This scene serves two functions, to show the skill and power of Hinata, especially when his setter had fudged the set, but also that power ain't everything, and that outer mistakes cannot be avoided in volleyball. The moment is informative to the viewer of volleyball as a game and Hinata as a character, along with being pure, amazing, and something you won't forget. In definition, it is a spectacle. So already Haikyuu's first episode on just those 2 points is good. But what is it that makes a good first episode become a great first episode? That is the themes. As well, Haikyuu's first episode excels in this field to an extent I have rarely seen. As I said before, there are 3 main themes explored in Haikyuu, these being teamwork, self-improvement and perseverance. So let us start with teamwork, as this is the theme I think this first episode explores the best. Volleyball is a team sport. You cannot play it alone no matter how hard you try, and this idea is pivotal in this first episode. And Hinata and Kageyama both embody a different aspect of teamwork. Hinata is the only volleyball player on his team, with some members not even knowing the rules of the game upon entering the tournament. In a sense, Hinata was the only person on that side of the court. He was forced to pick up the slack as a result of the mistakes of his teammates and ended up in situations that could have badly injured him as a result. Kageyama, on the other hand, was one member of a brilliant team, one set to go to nationals. However, he felt his team was sloppy and not on his level. Just like Hinata, he was much better than the rest of his team, but his approach was different. Hinata still valued his teammates, as without them he couldn't step foot on the court, whereas Kageyama wished he could do all the positions on his team and did not value his team for being too sloppy and not keeping pace with him. Kageyama has what Hinata wanted, a strong team to rely on and a chance to go places. Whereas Hinata had what Kageyama wanted, he was the only volleyball player on his team. However, this is not exactly true. Hinata wanted a team to rely on, but Kageyama was hated by his team members. If Hinata had been in Kageyama's place, he wouldn't have had team members that supported him, he would gain brilliant teammates in terms of play, but would lose the valuable friends he already had. And Kageyama wanted to be the only volleyball player on his team, but he would still have team members. No matter how much better than his other team members he is, he can't fill all the positions, he can't play on his own, what he desires is simply not possible. Volleyball is a team game. Hinata understood that. Without his team, he wouldn't be able to stand on the court, and without them, he wouldn't even be able to score. Hinata was a blocker and a spike, not a setter or a libero. He needed the support of his team, even if they were bad, or he wouldn't be able to play to start with. The one legitimate point he scored in the game was a result of not just his spike, but also his friend's set. Kageyama wanted all his teammates to play in time with him, but as said later in the series, a setter should be giving a spiker the ball he wants, not the other way around. Kageyama failed to understand the worth of his team, as friends only seeing them as players who could help him score points, and so saw their flaws as players but none of their merits as friends and moral support. Whereas Hinata understood the worth of his team not as good players but as friends to support him, though as a result lost the game, as no matter how good a friend you are with your teammates, if they aren't strong you will lose. Kageyama was the king of the court. He was the best player that ruled over the rest of his team, but he was a flawed king. A king is only as good as his subjects and can't function without them, as a king with no subjects is just a man with a title. As it's not the title of king that gives you power, it's the fact you have others who acknowledge you as king. Kageyama didn't value his subjects and wanted to play all the positions himself. By definition, what he desires is the failings of a king. Hinata, a player forced to pick up the slack for his team, was grateful for his chance to play, thanks to his team. Kageyama failed to recognise the talent of his team, forcing them to play for him as his subjects. He didn't value them, and as a result he was a failed king. Throughout the episode you can gauge these different viewpoints through Hinata and Kageyama's dialogue with their teams. Hinata spends most of his dialogue apologising or thanking his team, whereas Kageyama's dialogue is strictly criticisms and evaluations of the game. And before the match even begins, we see Kageyama grill some of his juniors, saying they aren't even bench warmers, a key critique of their skill as players. And in a way, this also extends out of his team, shown by how frustrated Kageyama gets when his team brushes off Hinata as a threat, as Kageyama recognised that even if it was only slight, his opponent had skill and was able to legitimately score a point. Hinata values friends and Kageyama values skill. Both want to win and both lack something the other possesses. Teamwork is key to volleyball, as without it you cannot stand on the court and cannot play to the best of your ability. I mean, this is shown time and again throughout the series. At first, the biggest threat that seemed to face the team in their match against Shirazawa Academy was Wakatoshi Ushijima alone, but their team needs more than one player. And throughout the match we see that even the Eagle Wakatoshi has talented players like Satori Tendo and Tsutomi Goshiki standing by his side. There's a reason the first words spoken in the series are the following. A tall wall looms in front of me. What's the view on the other side? What does it look like? The view from the top. It's a view I could never see on my own. But if I'm not doing it alone. Without a team to support you, you cannot step on the court and cannot look over that net. In simple terms, teamwork is the most important factor to playing volleyball. Okay, so I think you get the point that teamwork is important to this first episode, but what about self-improvement and perseverance? Self-improvement is an important theme for every sports anime. The idea of improving and getting better is synonymous with every sport, and this episode explores this idea from many angles. Kageyama grills his teammates for not being fast enough or keeping time with him. He is in his own way trying to push them to improve. And although this is a more cruel way of presenting the theme, it gets across how important it is and what happens if one team member gets too far ahead and the others fall behind. The final conversation between Hinata and Kageyama is all about self-improvement. They vow to become stronger and to be the last one standing, aka the winner. It's a clear example of willpower, resolve, and a drive to get stronger and to improve. Hinata stands at the top of the stairs looking down on Kageyama, as a statement that one day he will grow stronger and win, and that in the future he will fly with his own wings and not need the stairs to support him. It's a declaration that he will get stronger than Kageyama and to improve. And this is also cemented by the last shot of the game, where we see the two walking away from each other, a 1 on Hinata's shirt and a 2 on Kageyama's. Hinata will surpass Kageyama and take the winning spot, but Kageyama will not back down, biting its ankles, in second place. Even if they are on the same team, in the future they will strive to be better and to be stronger and to self-improve. Hinata never outright calls out Kageyama's attitude, but as we learn in later episodes, his team did. This moment not only drives the two to become better players, but also starts Kageyama down his path of betterment and self-improvement in terms of his personal issues and his status as the king of the court. The final exchange is inspirational, powerful, and really gets across the drive of the characters and the importance of self-improvement in this show. Last is the idea of perseverance, and funny enough it is once again explored through both Hinata and Kageyama. It's kind of like they're foils for each other and vessels to explore the core themes of the series. No matter how many points his opponent scored, Hinata never gave up. No matter how many times his teammates mucked up, he never gave up. And when one team member tells him to just let the enemy win as there's only 1 point left, what does Hinata say? He says, "We haven't lost yet." And what does Kageyama say when his team is 1 point from victory and someone says to take it easy? He says, "We haven't won yet." The duality makes me so happy. God, this writing is great. No matter how far behind or how hopeless it seems, Hinata never gave up, and no matter how far ahead or sure of victory his team was, Kageyama never got sloppy. No matter the situation, neither Hinata or Kageyama would take it easy. No matter what, when they were on that court, they would give it their all. And that's the thing about perseverance. No matter the situation or how bad it has gotten, if you try with all your might, you may just pull through. If you can still fight, then keep fighting, as it may just pay off. Even when Hinata's team told him to give up, he didn't, and when Kageyama's team told him to take it easy, he didn't. They both persevered till the very end. And if that isn't a clear display of the theme of perseverance, then I really don't know what it is. So yeah, the three main themes of Haikyuu are without a doubt masterfully explored in this first episode, and are what for me turns episode 1 of Haikyuu, the end and the beginning, from a good episode to a great one. Comment of the week comes from my great friend and fellow AniTuber Heavenly Weeb, and as always mate, your support is much appreciated. If you have any opinions on Haikyuu or the episode in question, then tell me in the comment section below, and if you have a suggestion for a future video, then again my comment section is below. Also don't forget to check out my Twitter at SethTheS for channel updates and just general chatter, and if you want to chat to me directly, my DMs are always open. Or check out my Instagram at SethTheSin_cosplay to see my cosplays or random anime merchandise. So with all that said and done, I have been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I am signing out. Stay safe, everyone.